So this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm looking for when you're looking at accommodating for your students with disabilities inside of your lesson plan. So remember, always refer back to those lesson plan instructions because there's specific disabilities that you're going to be accommodating for within your lesson. So always refer back to that for those specifics. So here, what I want to point your attention to is I do provide a few documents, key documents that I really like when it comes to accommodating for students with disabilities. You won't have to provide differentiation strategies specifically for gifted students, but I did provide a resource there as well, just so you have it. But you're not having to accommodate for gifted students. You are accommodating for students with disabilities. And so there is a really specific way that I want you to tackle this inside of your lesson plan. So I'm going to bring up this sample of a lesson plan that is included here on your lesson plan page. So what I want you to do is, you'll notice down here in accommodations, this represents what I want to see from you. So first, tell me which step within your process that you're going to accommodate. So you have to remember that when you're accommodating for students inside of your lesson plans, it doesn't mean that every single step must be different. Even with differentiation with gifted kids, it doesn't mean that every single step is different. But there does have to be accommodations throughout your lesson plan based on the child's IEP. And you would have a copy of that as a classroom teacher, what those specific accommodations are for. But I'm not requiring you to accommodate every single step inside of your lesson. What I want you to do for practice is pick one step or the homework to accommodate. So down here, you're going to tell me which step it is that you're accommodating. So in this case, the sample talks about accommodating for the homework. Now tell me what you're going to do differently to accommodate the student. So accommodations, meaning that you're assisting the student. You're not modifying the curriculum. So there is a difference between modification and accommodation. You're not modifying the curriculum, meaning that you're not giving them totally different curriculum. You're accommodating, or you're making some changes to try to assist them in understanding the material. So they still have to follow the same objectives. You know, if the objective is that they have to be able to comprehend a story, they still have to meet that objective of comprehending the story. But what tools are you going to provide for them so that they can understand or learn that easier, or more at their learning level, or more like their learning style? So for example, my son, he has a learning disability, and so he has to take things in chunks. He still has the same expectations as every other student. He's not getting different curriculum, but he gets that information chunked. So he has, you know, these 2 steps, now stop and check in. You have these 3 steps, now stop and check in. He's got, you know, a reduced spelling list. He's, you know, so there's different types of accommodation, but the curriculum doesn't change. So what you'll tell me here in the classroom accommodation section is how you've accommodated that particular step for that student with that disability. One of the things that I want to make sure you don't do, so this is a big no-no, you won't get credit for this, is you can't say the accommodation is that the paraprofessional is going to help, that, or they're going to come and sit at the teacher desk. Now, although a paraprofessional may be there to assist you inside the classroom some of the time, they're not there all of the time with every kid who has a learning disability or some other type of disability. Now, some students do have a full-time aide, but most students don't have a full-time aide or paraprofessional inside the classroom. So you really need to get into the practice of how are you going to accommodate your lessons for the student. And it can't always be at the teacher table either. So I want to hear from you, like, what are you going to do inside this lesson in a concrete way to accommodate for that student with a learning disability or other disability as dictated on those lesson plan templates. So again, the big no-no, you can't say you're going to use a parapro, you can't say you're going to use a special education teacher, and you can't talk about just coming up to the teacher table. So I really want you to use those resources that I provided to help you figure out how you can accommodate one of those steps.